Clean your brother's bowl. Yeah. Good times. So here we are. We are going to be in 2 Kings, starting in chapter 9. We're going to be reading about a guy who, his name is Jehu, but for your sake, I'll just say Jehu, because we anglicize everything. I mean, every once in a while, like I slip up and actually use like my Bible education, but then all it does is cause confusion. Like, I mean, I was visiting one of the centers and asked everybody to turn to Nehemiah. You know, they were like, "What?" Oh, I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." As we say over here in the educated part of where I like Nehemiah. But this story is really one of the first ones that ever jumped out at me when I started kind of studying the word for myself. And you guys know how that rolls, some of you. Yes, 9. When you finally get the bug to not just wait for someone else to tell you to turn to a chapter, and then you kind of just start dialing in, and then isn't it like isn't it great, that moment, like that sense of fulfillment when you're like, I can't believe nobody on earth has ever seen this before. Right? And then like you go to anybody else and they're like, well, if you look over here, it also says there is nothing new under the sun. But getting revelation on your own is pretty cool. I don't mean new revelation. I spent 2 weeks ripping on new revelation, so the last thing I'm going to do is be like, Happy New Year. Anyhow, new revelation. Yeah, that's not a thing. Uh, but when the revelation is given to you directly, it's a cool feeling, man. Like when you're not just being fed like a baby bird, somebody else. Almost everything that we receive biblically in here up until a certain point, somebody else has chewed it, and then kind of like into our mouth, and then we kind of chew it, and then we kind of go out into the smoke pit after, and we're like, yo, that was incredible. And we're like, oh, I wish I was there. What did I miss? And you're like, open up. Right? And then this is what we do. I mean, this is how the word of God, and I mean, whisper down the lane happens. But this is one of the first passages I really read on my own, and then kind of just was, like running around doing the running man in my room, like, yeah, like I can't wait to go. I'm gonna blow minds. And then you go and you tell the staff, and they're like, yeah, we covered that the time you were falling asleep in class. I'm not going to do the whole story of Jehu or Jehu. I'm going to start at chapter 9, and this is where we really are going to come face to face with a super infamous, horribly abused character in the Bible by the name of Jezebel. And why abused? If you were raised in a spiritual church, LOL, any of them, any sort of fundamentalist, spirit-filled, evangelical, you've probably heard about the Jezebel spirit, right? And the reason you heard it is because the church elders needed to talk to your parents about your sister because she's listening to Madonna, and she's going to catch the Jezebel spirit. The interpretations of this are mind-numbing, right? They have nothing to do with the actual character of the woman involved. He's like, she's got a lustful spirit on her. Jezebel. No, this woman was politically savvy and manipulative across the board, right? Like if you don't know what you're doing with it, this just sounds like a woman who walked around the Bible going like, yoo-hoo. And then like dudes just fell out, and she corrupted all of Israel by like dropping her pencil over and over. Like it's ridiculous. So Jehu we're going to catch him in the middle of his calling. And the calling on his life is awesome. God is like, I've had it with them and them and them and also them, and then over there, and yeah, go get started. And Jehu just chariots around the countryside, cleansing the land. And we've got a wicked king who's been endlessly warring, and he has brought Jezebel into the palace, and she's, quasi first lady, and she's making things bad for the people of God. And so Jehu's on his way to where the wicked king and Jezebel happen to be, and this is where we're going to pick up the story. It says, thus Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi. So if you're following this, his dad is Jehoshaphat, his granddad is Nimshi, conspired against Joram. Now Joram with all Israel had been on guard at Ramoth Gilead against Hazael, the king of Syria. But King Joram had returned to be healed in Jezreel of the wounds that the Syrians had given him. So the war is going on. The battle has left the king wounded, and he is going back to this nearby fortress to get healed when he fought with Hazael, king of Syria. So Jehu said, if this is your decision, then let no one slip out of the city to go and tell the news to Jezreel, which is the nearest partner city. Then Jehu mounted his chariot and went to Jezreel, for Joram lay there, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, had come down to visit Joram. That's a good friend. Like, the other king is just like, oh, I heard my buddy's sick. Let me go take him. He probably brought him lunch. I mean, this is real basic stuff. It's beautiful, right? But here's what, this is the part. Now the watchman was standing on the tower in Jezreel, and he saw the company of Jehu as he came, and said, I see a company. And Joram said, take a horseman and send to meet them, and let him say, is it peace? So this is what the watchman goes. He goes, basically all he sees is like a dust cloud kicking up on the horizon. You hear like the faint sound of horses galloping, right? And the watchman goes, somebody's approaching. And again, they're at wartime, so everybody is paranoid. And so what the watchman is told is, send out somebody to ask him, do you come in peace? Is it peace is just a not our way of asking, do you come in peace? So a man on horseback went to meet him and said, thus says the king, is it peace? And Jehu said, what do you have to do with peace? Turn around and ride behind me. And the watchman reported, saying, the messenger has reached them, but he is not coming back. Then he sent out a second horseman who came to them and said, thus said the king, is it peace? And Jehu answered, what do you have to do with peace? Turn around and ride behind me. Again the watchman reported, he reached them, but he is not coming back. And the driving is like the driving of Jehu, the son of Nimshi, for he drives furiously. Right? So this is in a nutshell. Wartime, king is wounded. He's ducking out in a walled small city. Another king has come to visit him. Everybody's on high alert. And Jehu is driving all over the countryside. Anyone who has brought idolatry into the land, your time is up. Anyone who is leading the people astray, your time is up. And I don't care if you're on your sick bed, I'm still coming for you. And the watchman is up there, and he sees the party approaching. Again, like, it's probably little more than just dots on the horizon, maybe a dust cloud kicking up, one or two people just, banging on coconuts because they don't have horses. No, I'm sorry, that's Monty Python, not this story. But they hear the horses galloping, and he goes and he reports, like, someone's approaching, and they send out a messenger to ask, do you come in peace? And the watchman has to go and be like, yo, the messenger got to them, but he's not coming back. So they throw another messenger out. They're like, send another messenger. And the other messenger goes out. And the watchman has to come back and be like, listen, we can do this all day, but everybody you send out there, I don't know what is being offered to them, but it must be a good deal because like they just kind of just stay with them. But this is the whole crux of this passage. But the driving is like the driving of Jehu, the son of Nimshi, for he drives furiously. Now, mind you, he doesn't say, I recognized him, I could see him, I saw his face, it's obviously Jehu. The only thing that he could base this man's identity on is one characteristic, the way he drives, his motivation, the way he moves through the world. And this is important for people like us if we really want to be grown into having characteristics of godliness in our lives. Because, listen, people stay in ministry for all sorts of crazy reasons. I mean, if you're doing it right, the higher you get in leadership positions, the attraction ought to be humility. But for many people who get into leadership positions, the attraction is visibility. Like, I just like being in front of people. I just like being on camera. Like, I like making sure people are noticing me. And listen, and they talk a great game. I mean, you listen, if you've been in church 3 times, at least one time, you've seen it. I mean, you get people who are like, I just want to brag on God for a minute. Me. What? Right? Like, you know this. Like, they try sliding the "this is all about glory to God" card across the altar to you, and then just hand you themselves. I'd like to tell you what I've accomplished. Praise be to God. Let's take a minute and have a round of applause. For God, obviously. I mean, it's insanity. But part of that mentality is also people become way too reliant not on having actual discernible, recognizable spiritual content, but in everything that's external. Right? I love everything this watchman doesn't say. The watchman isn't like, listen, we've sent out messengers, and they're not coming back, but I know for a fact it's Jehu because he's in his chariot and he's blasting Christian radio. Right? Like Jehu's got like K-Love just cranked. Well, he's like, yeah. Like, crazy. Right? And like the messenger doesn't go, the watchman doesn't go, we sent the messenger out and he's not coming back. And I know why. It's Jehu, and I can tell because he's wearing one of his 50 million Christian t-shirts. Like everywhere Jehu goes, like you can't see him yet, but the fish is real big. Right? Like just a big fish on his t-shirt. So you like, oh no, it's Jehu. Right? And then everyone's like, are you sure? And everyone's like, be quiet, listen. Oh yeah, that's K-Love. Right? Like, I mean, could you imagine if this is what these people had to depend on? But here's the problem. Most people, if we don't actually mature in our walk and start truly developing the fruit of the Spirit, not plastic fruit, not artificial fruit, but the actual fruit of the Spirit, the only thing we can rely on is everything that we can show or tell people about ourselves. But it doesn't mean we're identifiable from a distance. I mean, how many of you heard some variation of like integrity is doing the right thing even when you don't think anybody is watching you? Right? The watchman isn't like, I know that chariot anywhere. It's got religious bumper stickers all over it. Like just front to back, Jehu just put Jesus bumper stickers all over his chariot, like, honk if you love Jesus. Put the little Jesus fish on the back, Christian Easy Pass. Right? The only thing that this watchman has to go on, and this is vital. I can't see him. I can't hear him. He hasn't had any opportunity to tell me how spiritual he is. I just see him from a distance. And from a distance, I can tell you exactly who it is because of the way he moves, because of his motivation, because of the things that drive him. And our motivation and the things that drive us speak infinitely louder volumes about who we really are or aren't in the kingdom of God than our best performance up here, than the best message we've ever delivered, than the most spiritual sounding prayer we've ever led in a group setting. Man, even if you can't hear the Christian music being blared for, public consumption, even if you can't see, all the Jesus-y stuff on the t-shirt, even if the car or chariot isn't covered in Christian bumper stickers, man, the one thing that speaks the loudest about who a person truly is their motivation, the thing that drives them. And that's the thing that will also carry us through, because he's on a mission. And if he doesn't have the motivation that he has, if he doesn't have the driving that he has, he's not going to be able to push through the things that he has to push through. So Joram said, "Make ready." And they made ready his chariot. Then Joram, king of Israel, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, set out, each in his chariot. This is Jehu's lucky day. It's like a 2-for-1. Jehu was probably like, "Oh, good. This is going to save me some time," because I was looking for both of y'all. And they come out, and the one is all like gimped up, right? He's put the arm in a cast, he's got the patch on his eye. It's sad picture, right? And they met him at the property of Naboth the Jezreelite. And when Joram saw Jehu, he said, "Is it peace, Jehu?" He answered, "What peace can there be so long as the whorings and sorceries of your mother Jezebel are so many?" Then Joram reined about, means turned his chariot around and fled, saying to Ahaziah, "Treachery, O Ahaziah." And Jehu drew his bow with his full strength and shot Joram between the shoulders, so that the arrow pierced his heart, and he sank in his chariot. Jehu said to Bidkar, his aide, "Take him up and throw him on the plot of ground belonging to Naboth the Jezreelite. For remember, when you and I rode side by side behind Ahab, his father, how the Lord made this pronouncement against him. As surely as I saw yesterday the blood of Naboth and the blood of his son, declares the Lord, I will repay you on this plot of ground. Therefore, take him up and throw him on that plot of ground in accordance with the word of the Lord." Isn't this faithfulness? Like, I just love the fact that it's just like, I absolutely just shot this dude in the back through. He was already a mess, bleeding all over the place, and I just shot him in the back, and his horses are all just like galloping sideways. We really want to honor God, so just go throw him on the dirt that God said he would actually die on. Beautiful. So, this is it. I'm going to go right to verse 26. Actually, I'm going to go to verse 27. When Ahaziah, the king of Judah, saw this, he fled in the direction of Beth-Hagan, and Jehu pursued him and said, "Shoot him also." And they shot him also in the chariot at the ascent of Gur, which is by Ibleam. And he fled to Megiddo and died there. His servants carried him in a chariot to Jerusalem and buried him in his tomb with his fathers in the city of David. In the 11th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, Ahaziah began to reign over Judah. So he's just out on the field cleaning shop. When Jehu came to Jezebel, this is the reason this always gets blown out of proportion. This is the only thing anybody knows about her. She put on some makeup. That's it. Yes, this is the thing that is just enraging God. God is just like, "Jehu, I have called you to go on a mass murder spree because that woman will not stop shopping at Sephora." Like, so here we go. Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her eyes and adorned her head and looked out the window. So she's up in her little turret, and she makes herself look good because she's trying to twist this dude's mind. But again, drive, motivation, vision for your life is how you overcome these sorts of things, right? And as Jehu entered the gate, she said, "Is it peace, you Zimri, murderer of your master?" Just so you know what that reference is. Zimri is one of the Old Testament equivalents of calling someone a Benedict Arnold. If you don't know what that term means, it's literally the Old Testament equivalent of calling someone Judas, right? Basically, like, you traitor to your own people. Brilliant moment, so buckle up. And he lifted up his face to the window and said, "Who is on my side? Who?" 2 or 3 eunuchs looked out at him. I love this moment. She's trying so hard. This move has worked on kings. She's gotten into the White House, batting her eyes at people so that she could actually just start corrupting from a political position and introducing all kinds of like witchery and idolatry into the kingdom of God. So she thinks this move is going to work, and she comes out to the window like, "Yoo-hoo. Oh, is that Jehu?" And Jehu, he does not even engage. Some of you guys, you need to take this to heart. When the temptation is standing directly in front of you, this dude isn't even stupid enough to make eye contact. You're not like, "Greater is he that's in me. Greater is he." No, he looks right past her and goes, "Who up there is on my side?" And you got two or three servants just peek out from behind her like, "Hello." Right? This is a great moment, right? From inside her household, people hear him and they're like, "Wait, this is our chance." Yes, hello, I fit the criteria. What can we do for you, right? He's not even talking to this woman. He talks to them. He said, "Throw her down." So they threw her down. And some of her blood splattered on the wall and on the horses, and they trampled on her. Then he went in and ate and drank. It's a great, happy story. I love this moment. Listen, there are things that are descriptive in the Bible, but not prescriptive, right? That means the Bible will tell us things, and they're in there, and this is the word of God, and that's marvelous, and there's a message in it, or else we wouldn't be recipients of it. But that doesn't mean everything that happens in it is what we personally are called to do, nor does it always mean it was actually God's like divine will. I'm not talking about this story when I say that. I'm like you're gonna have like one sociopath who leaves the mission like, "I don't know what they were trying to teach me, but I know what I read: dash babies on rocks." You know, come back in before it's too late for everybody involved. Like if somebody walks off property, like, and that, like, dude, go after them for everybody's sake. um, like you can't just be like, "Well, it's in the Bible." Like, as much as I wish in my flesh that this is the sort of personal calling that God had bestowed on me, I would excel. Like, seriously, God is like, "I love a cheerful giver." Like, well, how come you don't let me serve the way I want to serve? Like, like I would go hard. But all of that to say, just because we are no longer in an era, we are now under like a new law, right? We are under a new teaching. A new commandment was given to us. That doesn't mean that the heart of what is actually happening in this passage and a story directly after it aren't absolutely for us to grab a hold of and spiritually, if not philosophically, mentally, however you want to word it, put the exact same thing into practice, which is look past the temptations that will get between us and the calling on our lives. Not engage with it, I know I go hard on some like really crazy Western civilization churches and their practices, but absolutely nothing is going to set us up for disaster quicker. There are other things that might be easy. Nothing will move quicker to absolutely set us up for epic levels of failure on a spiritual level, like getting involved in like, he's under my feet. He's under my feet. The devil is on, no, he's under Jesus' foot. But like, I mean, some of you guys, you've been in services like, we bind you. We bind you, devil. Well, yo, let me. Let's take a moment. I've had, when I was in the program, special guest teachers. It's always the special guest teachers. The normal teachers don't come down like, happy Tuesday, family. We bind you. Right now, it's always like the Saturday night folks, right? Like the Basement Tabernacle All-Stars, right? And they show up and they're like, we bind you, Satan. But if that worked, why do we have to keep doing it? Like, dude is either Houdini or we're not meant to be doing that. Because I don't know if you've picked up on it, and we're going to get into Genesis in the next couple weeks, the early chapters of it. But, you know, everybody knows the story of Adam and Eve. I don't know if you've really picked up on, like, they really wouldn't have run into the trouble they ran into. This is real simple stuff. I'm not saying just don't engage. Like, we have like, here's what the Bible tells us to do. Submit to God. Submit to God. That is your resistance. But we think resistance means like, hold on, God. Come at me, Satan. No. Submit to, you know what that means? Put your focus on God, and that form of resistance causes the devil to flee. What we are not called to do is just be like, I hear you, devil, but greater is he that's in me. Why am I having a conversation with him? Like even if like, no, you don't understand. I'm about to like do a judo move on him. No, you're fellowshipping with him. Just stop talking. Hang up. We have no reason to be talking to him at all. At all. That's not what the Bible tells us to do. The Bible tells us, shift your focus to the Lord. That is the resistance that causes the devil to flee, not our binding. Under my feet. The worst one, poor Satan. On a Wednesday morning, I'm stepping on his neck in Norma, New Jersey, and there's a church in South Africa that is like body slamming him off tables. There's a church in Korea that's like locking him in a box. Dude's just catching a beating all over the planet. Or he's not. Because that's just not how this works. I mean, what would be good if I had the power, like, Jesus, thank you for everything. But most of all, thank you for the power to do this. Like, Satan, I got you. Yeah, good luck. Seriously, no. What we have to do in every temptation, look past it. Look for what is godly. Jehu isn't like, who's on my side? And they're like, oh, we really love you. No, He was looking for godly people. I'm not going to make eye contact with this stumbling block. I'm not going to listen to what she has to say. I'm not going to insulted my great-grandfather. I mean, seriously, you name drop my family? I mean, some of us would be like, that's it. Let me out of this chariot. You'd be beating up a woman. Ridiculous. She's trying to hit him with everything. Insults, looking good. None of it is flying. Because he knows I have a purpose, and my purpose isn't this. This isn't my stopping point. This isn't the goal. My goal is beyond this woman. So I'm not going to fall into this. I mean, this is at the epitome, at the heart of being dead to temptation. I mean, some of you have been here long enough. You've heard me say this, so we're going to take a side because I know you guys like my ridiculous trips into the weeds, right? Every one of you is going to struggle with temptation. Jesus struggled with temptation. And if you remember that story, it's super famous. Jesus is like, I bind you. No, actually he doesn't. Sorry. He just shifts it back to the kingdom. But we are all we're gonna face it. We get faced with it in here and we stumble. Imagine when we don't have the safety netting of this place and we go back into a world that's just bombarding us with it. So this is the only piece of advice I've ever given. And if you are a TC or higher, you've heard me talk about this. It's unforgettable. Buckle up. So you're going to go home at some point. And I don't know if you know this, but your home is in a town. And almost every town has something in common. Not even all of them have a city hall, but most towns have a funeral home. So here's what you need to keep in mind. When you go home and you're on a Friday night and you're lonely and you're looking at all the contacts you probably should have deleted out of your phone, and you're like, I'm trying to just stay with the Lord, but man, this is hard. And then Satan comes in and is like, you're just so lonely, aren't you? And we're like, yes, Satan, I am. It feels good to have someone to talk to. And Satan's like, hey, call that person in your phone who went to a 28-day program and is barely clean. That's who you ought to hang out with tonight. No, listen, here's what you really ought to do. One, you all failed the test. Don't talk to him. Don't call anyone in your phone. None of them are any good. That's how you ended up here. Here's what you do. If your town has a funeral home, I guarantee you at some point they're going to have a funeral. Now, this works better if you don't know the dead person. But here's what you need to do. Go to the funeral home, wait in line, don't make a scene, don't draw attention to yourself. Just wait in the receiving line, maybe sign the guest book, look at the pictures that are pasted on the board or on the electronic screen. When you get up to the family, just be like, oh, I'm so sorry, and move on. And then try not to listen as they're like, who was that? Right? But if you've ever been to a view and you know this, you will get your time alone with the corpse. This is the moment. When you're complete, don't make sure you do this quiet or you will make it so much worse for that family. When you get your time alone with the corpse, lean in and be like, yo, let's go get high. Yeah, nah? Yo, fight me. Don't say that too loud. And if it doesn't want to fight you or get high with you, try this. You know what? They cleaned you up pretty nice. You look good. Yeah, let's go back to my place. Here we go. Not according to Mike, according to Paul, anything that corpse responds to, you have the Lord's permission to respond to when you are faced with the same temptation. We are called to be dead. We are called to be dead to it. I don't hear it. I'm not engaging with it. I'm not going to Let me put that on the back burner just in case a slightly better. No, like, it has no power. We are like, be dead to the temptations of sin, dead to it. That is what the person in the casket will be, no matter what you throw at it. You can even like shoulder block it. I mean, again, don't get caught. I mean, that's just weird. You know, and for the love of God, just don't be too loud. I mean, go hard, but don't make the family just start. I mean, the wife will just, but like, hit it with everything that would make us trip, right? Because I know, do some of us, we pop off at like elementary school level stuff in here. We get dragged into the office. We're like, man, why'd you know what they said about me? Are you kidding? Did you hear what your PO said about you? Dude, just stop acting like crazy people and go back to class. Talked about my pants. Like, what? They made fun of my cooking. Your cooking was terrible. You gave food poisoning to half the house. Like, just move on. We are called to be dead to these things. The things that would make us want to fight other people, the things that would make us run off with other people, the things that would make us run off in general. Dead to it. And the way we start to do that, the thing that we put into practice, we're looking at it. I'm not making eye contact. I'm not listening. I am not playing with this. I am looking beyond it. The minute it's there, I'm aware it's there, but I am not crazy enough to lock eyes with it or it'll have me. I am not staying stuck here. I'm on a mission. I'm recognizable from my driving. That is who I am. That is who Jehu is. You don't have to listen to a really good devos. It's just spiritual. He told us. Look at my favorite, the best ever. I'm very humble. But when we have the motivation and we're continually moving forward, pressing on in the thing that we are driven to accomplish, when we know the calling on our life, when we know who we're meant to be, when we know what we're meant to be doing with the tools that the Lord has given us, man, when we get faced with Jezebel up in the window, seriously, it's like, next. But my absolute favorite Jehu story, because listen, this is all thematic. I'm just going to give you the Cliff Notes version. I'm going to encourage you, read this whole story. It's a lot, but this is the moment because I just looked at the clock. Cliff Notes will get the job done. So you guys all know Baal worship was a big deal, right? Until Jehu. Jehu does a move. He takes the throne, he sets up shop, and he says, listen, all the Baal worshipers, they're my people too. Let's celebrate them. Tell them all to go to the big Baal temple, and we're going to have ourselves a Baal party. Right? Now, the upfront part is the part that everyone's like, ooh, ah. It's the small detail that is the part I want us to kind of end on today. But here's the upfront part. Surprise! It's a trap. In the words of Admiral Akbar, it's a trap. Once all the Baal worshipers and all the priests, right, they're all inside, all the people who sell the Baal bumper stickers, the DJ at the Baal radio station, all the stuff that, Jehu doesn't have to depend on because, like, his life actually defines who he is. They're all inside, and Jehu has his people lock up the whole place and just light it on fire to burn them out. And thus ended Baal worship on one crazy night. But this is the part. This is why I want you to read this for yourself. This is worth underlining because it's insane. And he turned that place into a public urinal, and this is what the Bible tells us, and thus it remains to this day. Now, listen, I would love to tell you that the practical application of this is, listen, every place where we have practiced idolatry in our own lives, dude, we need to fill it with sewage and make it uninhabitable for ourselves ever again. But on the surface, there's something even better. I just love the fact that it was like, so this was the religion that was causing all the trouble. Well, anyhow, it is now public rest area 24B on the on the Judean Turnpike. Like, I mean, people knew. Like, you're going along, like, we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's nowhere safe to do it. We're gonna get. Oh, I know where we can go to the bathroom. Like, isn't that just the greatest? Like, I had a reputation for, like, seriously, you're out in the middle of nowhere and like, yo, if I go and drop my trousers out here, like, the bandits might get us, and everyone's like, hold it in another 5 minutes. I know the spot, and the food ain't half bad there either. They've got a Roy Rogers, right? Like, so you'd just be like plowing through the desert, and you're like, hold it in, trust me, we're gonna go to Bale House. And that's just where everybody goes to drop a deuce and take a leak. Now, as funny as that is, the entire heart of it is so absolutely applicable to us. Because even if it's in the depths and recesses of our own heart and our own mind, the places where we go to worship idols, we have to defile them. We cannot mess with them. We can't leave. Like, it's not enough to just burn the place. People will rebuild. Listen, this is the same move he just did with Jezebel. It is literally the exact same philosophy. I am not keeping this thing in my sight. We're putting it away. I'm not listening with it. I'm not to it. I'm not toying with it. I'm not going to come up with alternative methods for how to handle it. It's in between me and the calling on my life. It has to go down. It has to be stopped at all costs. I am not stopping to think about how I can live peaceably with this. Do we love to negotiate with the things that absolutely enslaved us? I mean, this is why we struggle so much, even most of us, when we first get here. I mean, listen, I make these jokes all the time. Trust me, I'm one of them. You know, and I'll hit these when we hit a couple Bible stories that really bang on this particular drum. But I mean, there was a moment we were super desperate to get help, and then the overseer had the audacity to tell us we could actually come in like now. Listen, it's January 7th. My former stepdaughter's having an Easter recital. I promised them I'd be there. You're not going, and they don't want you. I mean, seriously, we get on the phone and try to negotiate, right? We negotiate with everything. And I'll tell you why. It's real simple once we get real with ourselves, and I had to. We have lost so dang much of ourselves doing what we were doing that what little we have left, got to find something like, if I let it all go, who am I? I don't know, you might become somebody new and better. But we are so sick of losing the things that made us us. And I don't just mean external, I mean internal. Without my anger, who am I? I don't know, somebody who sleeps better. I love it. We get on the, like, can you get on the bus today? Listen, my niece is being baptized in 2 weeks, and I told the family, they don't want you there, and you're not going. Even if you don't come into mission, you know you're not going to that. I mean, we'll come with everything seriously. It's like, oh, I have this job interview. No, you don't. Just come in. But we do this move, right? And once we get here, it doesn't mean we stop just because we arrive here. We try to negotiate the terms of our surrender. Till we COD. Tell the Lord tomorrow at 12:15, I'll meet him at the table that's set up in the field. Listen, There is no white flag for us to wave. We don't get to go out and be like, I will surrender if. Listen, we lost. Dude, the war is over. We not only do we not get to negotiate the terms of our surrender with the Lord, we no longer get to negotiate with the things that kept us from him. It's just a little. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't even have to use terminology. Most of us just started with a little. But this is what we do. Like, what's the harm? Listen, I'm getting so much better in so many other areas of my life. God understands. Yes, he does. He understands it's killing us, and we're crazy for trying to think we can keep even a smidgen of whatever it is in our life. See, you wonder why, like people are such hypocrites. I was just doing my chores, and I was trying to do it with a good attitude. I don't know why they were so mad that I was like dropping Kanye bars. Like, you know why we don't want you walking around the house singing secular music? Because we know what you were doing the last time you were driving around singing along to secular music. Listen, maybe someday you'll be mature enough you can go pick it up and it has no impact on you. Today is not that day. They're just so religious. Listen, you might try to convince yourself that Jesus Walks as a gospel song, but we know. And so we want you to have fences around fences around fences around fences so that we don't even accidentally just go fall into the pits that we are so prone to fall into until we learn how to walk on stable legs for ourselves. Once we have our own motivation, once we have our drive, man, once the character that's in us comes from the inside out rather than an outward showing wherever it goes, man, once we have proven that when the Jezebels in our life are doing their darndest to trip us up, we don't even engage, we look and talk past. Man, we are not called to just engage with things that we already have a resume that proves time and time and time again defeat us. We're meant to engage with the one who overcomes. Let him put it under his feet. We just get behind him. And in doing so, we will start to build a character. One, it's beautiful when people can identify, they're really someone else. I mean, I love when I see change in you guys. I love it. I mean, when some of you guys, you first get here, it's terrifying. I mean, some of you guys, I mean, you've seen, the reference. I mean, we got Girl Interrupted, there's and the next thing, I come down a week later, and I mean, it's incredible. Because change happens when we seek the giver of change. And the more we seek him, the more we will be shaped into his image. And the more we're shaped into his image, the easier it will be to identify that we are, in fact, new creations. Not by the words of our mouth, not by our t-shirts, not by our bumper stickers, not by K-Love blasting in our chariot. But by the way we move. Man, the things that we're doing and what we put our energy towards. I mean, listen, I love the little interaction with Philip and Jesus right before Jesus, pops off. Philip goes, well, we're really going to miss you. But hey, before you go, what's God like? Right? And Jesus goes, how long have I been with you? If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And that's not Jesus going this is unattainable for all y'all. I'm just saying I'm God. No, what he's saying is, You've just spent 3 years witnessing me. If you hear the things I talk about, you know what matters to God because it's the only thing I want coming out of my mouth. You've seen the things that I've committed my resources and my energy to. And if you've seen that, you know what matters to God because what he wants done is what I want to do. And Jehu is moving in such a way where he can be identified from miles out. You don't even see the man, you see the dust cloud kicking up. I know exactly who that is because I know the way he moves. I know his motivation, I know his driving. And that sort of driving will save us in times of temptation when we don't stop to engage with things we know have the power to shackle us and just take us off course. And when all else fails, and I can't end on a better note than this, man, every one of us has Baal temples in our life, even if it's just something in our mind or in our heart where we go to get away from God for a little bit. I'm going to go to my true comforter. Then we just start thinking about ridiculous stuff. I'm not saying to really do this because there's probably legal ramifications and also we don't want to see it or smell it. Dude, you got to turn that into a urinal. Dude, you got to defile those places in here and in here so that they are no longer anything resembling welcoming or comforting to us. It's a toilet. And it's always been a toilet. We just didn't recognize it as such. So when we start treating it like a toilet, we won't go running to hug it. Man, make it unusable. Make it so unclean we can't go back there. And that's one thing we can do because that doesn't require us engaging with temptation or the enemy. Man, it just comes down to simply owning what that mentality or that outlook or that condition of our heart or that thought life is really all about and what it has always really been and define it for the sewage that it actually is. Man, and we will find no comfort going back to it. But that only comes when we become people who are developed in character by God to have the sort of drive that Jehu has. Man, the reason God still lets us get hit with weird temptations even all up in the mission is, man, listen, if we're going to fail in here, we're going to die out there. So when it comes at you today by lunch, at roll call, the next rules class you're trying to stay alive through, dude, you got to look past it. You got to look for the servants of God that are behind it or beyond it or next to it, not it. Man, we can't make eye contact. And if it is completely unavoidable and it's a structure that we don't know how to get around, I got no better option than what the Bible tells us, dude. Treat it like the toilet it is. We got to stop going back to these places in here because then they lead us back to places out there. You got to be like that corpse that you're going to go and mess with when you get out of here. I'm sorry, that's on camera. I never meant to say that out loud. You got to be dead to these things. And there's no better place to start numbing ourselves to the temptation of an awful life that led us to a situation where we needed a place like this. And to actually just spend time sitting in the light now that we've been rescued from the darkness. You're praying us out.